Merry Christmas, everyone. My name is Nick Infernus, and welcome back to another comic book review. Now, I'll admit, I was kind of dreading watching the movie that I'm going to be covering in this video. Not because it's bad, but, well, you'll see what I mean when we get to the cons. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Probably the most acclaimed movie in the DCEU for very good reason, which is actually why I'm going to start off with the cons, because they're both very minor things. First of all, it's 4 hours long. There's no hiding that. It's right there whenever you go to buy the movie or rent it or whatever. It is 4 hours and 2 minutes, and that's not necessarily a flaw, more than something that I can see turning people away. Like, even my mom and I are worried about, like, when are we going to watch this? It's 4 hours long. I mean, thankfully we made the time today, but today, the day that's about to end when I'm recording this, Christmas Day, we were able to make time for it, but it was still a concern for a few months. And the other thing is that this is actually something I like, that it's split up into different sections. It's 6 chapters and an epilogue. My issue is that the epilogue feels like it might go on for a little bit too long. Like, I don't know if we really needed the second apocalyptic dream sequence. I mean, I guess it's pretty cool to see like the what if scenario if Arthur was killed and Mira took his place on the Justice League, but that was probably the only scene in the entire movie that felt pretty pointless. I liked everything else in the epilogue. I liked that we got to see where, all the Justice League members were at in life after the final battle with Steppenwolf. It was cool to see more of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, and we also got our proper and only real appearance and introduction for Slade, aka Deathstroke. And we actually got a pretty cool interaction between Ben Affleck's Batman and Martian Manhunter, who I wish appeared more in this movie, but alas, we'll have to settle for his 2 appearances in this movie for his DCEU representation. Oh well. But other than those 2 things, the incredibly long runtime and that one pointless scene in the epilogue, basically everything else is positive. First of all, yes, this is just Zack Snyder. There's no Joss Whedon whatsoever. This is exactly what Zack Snyder's vision was for the movie, and because of that, there's no out-of-place humor, where there's still a little bit of humor thrown in here and there. There's like 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 jokes throughout the entire movie, but they at least feel like they fit in the movie that you're watching. And there's no cut character development. All the characters that Zack Snyder wanted to develop are developed. And I guess I should probably state that, if anything, the 4-hour runtime is probably one of this movie's biggest strengths, because it actually has time to flesh things out. This is probably what Eternal should have been instead of the 2.5-hour mess it ended up being. Should have been a 4-hour epic like this, because I mean, I guess this one technically has it easier because it's only working with 6 characters, 3 of which have already been established. But it still goes to show what you can do with a long runtime like this. And it's especially evident with certain characters. Now, I'm going to bring up 3. I'll start with 2 heroes who were pretty underwhelming in the original Justice League, those being Barry Allen and Victor Stone, aka Flash and Cyborg. Now, in the original Justice League, Flash was more or less the butt end of jokes. He would, make remarks about being afraid of really tall people and bugs and guns, and there was a sequence in the final battle where he pushed a car and then got outshone by Superman. In here, he's an integral part of the team and their victory against Steppenwolf and the Parademons. He actually has a role in tearing apart the 3 mother boxes, because Victor needed, I guess Cyborg needed, a large amount of energy to actually accomplish that feat, and Superman's help, but mostly a large amount of energy, and Barry was the source of that energy. I should stop referring to them with their real names. Flash was the source of that energy, so because of that, he felt like he was a lot more important, other than to just be there because He's one of the members of the Justice League in almost every single DC continuity ever. That, and it is nice to hear his dad's reaction to him getting that criminal justice job. Like the fact that his dad outright says to the other prisoners that he taught him nothing that he knows. I don't know what that means, but at the same time, I absolutely love that. The other member of the Justice League who got majorly improved here was Cyborg. Until the final battle, he was given nothing to do in the original movie. He was just there because they needed him for the final battle. Here they actually go into his backstory where he was both the captain of the football team at his high school and a caring friend. They actually established in a line of dialogue, in a couple lines of dialogue, a conversation even, that he hacked into the school's computer system to change his friend's grades due to a recent tragedy in her family out of the goodness of his heart. But then, of course, was involved in an accident that should have killed him, but didn't because his dad, who was a scientist, used one of the mother boxes to bring him back to life. And I want to say that this was mainly because he realized how much time he was wasting with work when he could have spent a lot more time bonding with his son. And it wasn't until his son was on death's door that he realized that he never really got enough time with him. Now, of course, Victor resented him for doing this to him, but he did eventually realize what his intentions were, and they do have a really good dynamic in the movie where a lot of the times the main reason why Cyborg saves his life when they're under Gotham Harbor is because he's his dad. No other reason, not because, oh, I felt obligated to do so because you're a civilian or, because it's the right thing to do, just he's his dad. He's family, he's blood. However, those two alone, I would argue that neither of them are characters that were the most improved from the original Justice League. If there's one character in this entire movie that was the most improved from the original Justice League, easily it's Steppenwolf. In the original movie, he was kind of just evil alien conqueror guy who was gathering the mother boxes to blow up the earth because, and he was also really weird, constantly, it felt like he was serving the mother boxes, just constantly calling them mothers, like, mother, we can do this, mother, we have the power. I forget all the lines of dialogue, and frankly, I don't want to remember the lines of dialogue. But in this movie, they give him an understandable motivation. He is someone who is like a herald of Darkseid, and he's failed said character multiple times in the past and is looking for a shot of redemption. So what does he do? He gets the mother boxes on Earth, and what I should say is that he wants to claim the Earth, the world that Darkseid failed to claim. He wants to get the three mother boxes to recreate Earth in Darkseid's image to come back up into his good graces. So overall, I'd say that he's easily the most improved character here. Went from just evil alien conqueror guy to, servant minion hell-bent on a mission. And one thing that I just realized I forgot to talk about with Flash, he has probably the best scene in the entire movie where the unity does happen and they synchronize, Earth starts to blow up, Flash runs into the explosion going farther than the speed of light and turns back time to actually cause the splitting of the mother boxes to happen. What I'm about to say is a joke, but I want to find the person who thought it was a better idea to have him push a car and kick his or her ass. Probably his. I don't want to kick a her. Now, of course, there are some other things outside of the character development that really worked well for me. Like, first of all, the resurrection of Superman feels a lot more natural. Like, in the original movie, it kind of felt like that was the goal. Like, yeah, of course, they were trying to stop Steppenwolf and the Paradigm, but they were also trying to bring back Superman. And at least to me, it felt more natural that, Batman tried the best he can to bring certain characters together, but it's even better when they get to a point where they realize, hey, these mother boxes can rebuild worlds. What if we use it to bring someone back to life who can be a major aid in our fight against Steppenwolf? And at least to me, I feel like that was a much better handling of Kal-El's resurrection because it feels. I just like it, but I just like more that it's something that they realize they can do other than something that they're trying to find a way to do. And the last major thing that I want to bring up here is that the score is so much better. Tom Holkenborg did such a great job with this movie. Everything felt like it was such a big deal, and you could really feel the impact and the power of a lot of different moments, especially Flash's scene from earlier at the speed of force. That is one of the best like movie pieces of music that I have ever heard. So overall, when you have a movie that's doing all of this, all these great things, improving characters, improving storytelling, all because it has the runtime to do it, and its only issues are just that same runtime being a potential turnoff and one singular pointless scene. Is it any surprise that this movie gets a 5? I mean, come on. This is easily one of the best comic book movies I've seen, period, ever. Now, does it compare to Man of Steel? Surprisingly, I'd say probably no. If anything, it's slightly weaker. But being slightly weaker than a cinematic masterpiece is still high praise. Like, honestly, it's baffling to me that they even did everything they did with the original Justice League because when you look at Zack Snyder's original vision, this movie, a lot of the choices that they made with that original film just make no sense. Like, why would you bring in a director who is completely incompatible with Zack Snyder's style? Why would you cut out the scene where Flash runs into an explosion, turning back time and preventing Armageddon with him pushing a car? So, yeah, if at any point you ever want to watch this movie and are maybe holding off on it because the runtime's a bit scary, don't even worry about the runtime. In fact, the movie's set up in a way where you actually have a decent standing base to take breaks. It's set up like a mini series. It's like you have 6 parts and an epilogue. The epilogue you could probably just watch with the last part anyways, but you can actually take breaks in between parts. That's actually what we did today. We stopped at part 3 and then a couple hours later we continued with part 4. So yeah, if the runtime scares you, don't let it scare you. You can eat it's easily digestible and it's 100% worth it. Seriously, if you haven't seen this movie already, go see it. It's a work of art. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this Christmas present review to all of you. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, you know what to do. I'm not going to bore you with all that generic crap. Generic crap. I'll see you guys in the next review. Take care. Godspeed.